Twirl the wheel of my caddy with my middle finger, reeling up out of the hoopty molly with my pants sagging. I'm smoking on that crunch nasty with a G Memphis, the born and got the SPI, with the player status of an OG since knee high. Sporting a G hat with the short brim, Mr. Giga the gangster, hustler, baller, whatever you wanna call us. Straight player of games, game, putting it down for all you haters, killing them softly, mouthing them off me, keeping it real so they can't fade us up in a 9-6. I kicks back and roll the Vega up.
What's up, y'all? We got another episode of SlabOGsTV. Right now we got an OG from South Park off Belmark, Alvando Dion Ray, formerly known as Top Dog in the streets. So just tell me, who you are, what you're about. We're gonna talk about, the life that you used to live and how you changed it up or changed it around for the better. So could you just tell me about where you're from?
Yeah. Well, actually, name's Alvando Dion Ray. A lot of people, they been messing up ever since I was in school, so it ain't no big deal. But yeah, I'm from Belmark, in the heart of South Park. A lot of people know it as 3B,
3B.
Yeah, that's the clique that we came up with and that we was representing and stuff,
Okay.
back then, yeah.
And what was 3B? Because I see it on your
Well, a lot of people get that confused, but actually 3B stand for Belmark Bad Boys. And see,
okay.
we were bad boys before Puffy, in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Back then we been bad boys. Yeah.
So what was y'all doing over there in South Park off Belmark? Because that's a street I always hear about.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we been bad boys. We were bad boys, back in the '80s, and coming up like that. But of course, like I said, that's some former lifestyle. We all grown now, and we matured, and a lot of that, all those foolish ways, we got to learn to let go of that stuff,
Okay.
But there's nothing wrong with sharing your testimony, where you come from, what you used to do, and then be able to show people where you are now. That's one of the reasons why I didn't mind doing this video.
Yeah, it's a learning experience,
Right.
This video could really probably inspire somebody to see where you came from and to see where you at right now.
Yeah.
So just tell me about how you got your name in the streets. Top Dog, that's a name that I've always heard of. I never really knew the face. I seen the cars, you had the Opera Coupe, the Alante, the limousine. So just tell me about how you got your name out here.
Well, it's kind of funny because, even though when you get older, you realize a lot of stuff that you do and you try to work for, whether you hustling or whatever, you end up realizing that a lot of this stuff is useless, or meaningless, it's vain. But back then, it wasn't something just given to me. I'm gonna tell you like that. It was a lot of different things that I had to do and go through, and as well as ridicule and all that, but eventually, that's what, emerged.
Mm-hmm.
And the cold part about it, later in life, when I began to surrender to God and stuff like that, I began to realize that Top Dog actually was a demon.
Mm-hmm.
It was a spirit that I had allowed to inhabit me, and that spirit wanted his own identity.
Mm.
That's deep, ain't it?
Yeah, that's really deep.
Yeah. Hey, but that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, we got to be careful, about a lot of these nicknames and stuff that we allow ourselves to take on, because all the while, you know, it could be, you know, a demon that's inhabiting you, and now it wants its own identity. And then before you know it, that demon will begin to run you and use you, and you begin to do things that you probably thought you would never do because you got something else driving you now. You know.
Yeah. So was it like you know, just like you say, just the demon character that was portrayed upon you? Like how did that come about?
In other words, you want to go a little deeper. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go deep into the psyche.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when I was way back, when I was in elementary, it was strange because I had this infatuation with. I used to always try to draw this little dog, you know, and for some reason, no matter how many times I draw the dog, no matter how many, I could never ever make it perfect. You know, and I just had this infatuation with drawing this little dog, and the little dog, you know, it kind of puts you in the mind of Snoopy, you know, because that's the little dog I used to try to draw all the time, you know, and some kind of way over the years, it's like I end up becoming this dog, you know, I end up beginning to live the life of this dog, you know, so this character that I had in my head, in my mind, that I was drawing on paper, you know, in other words, just later I ended up becoming this character. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah,
but hey, but you know,
yeah.
You said you wanted to go there.
Yeah. So let's
said you wanted to go there.
Yeah. So let's back it up a little bit. You know, this being SlabOGsTV, you know, and you are a Slab OG. Can you just tell me about how did you first get into the car game, and what was your first car that you might have put together, you might have bought with some elbows on it?
Well, I had my first Slab when I was 16, and you know, like a lot of people I know, you know, I started off hustling and stuff young. You know, I could have had my first Slab. I was 14, you know, if I wanted to, but you know, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to have no driver's license or nothing like that, you know. So, and at that time, I wasn't really in no big hurry, big need or desire for no vehicle. And then I had older friends, you know, that had Slabs and stuff, like Lacey and Keith Babbitt and all of them, you know, they'll let me drive their car, you know. And then it got to the point where I started thinking, I said, well, you know, they trust me enough, you know, to drive their car and do this and that. I would just go and get my own, you know. And that's pretty much how that kind of started coming to be, you know, because I had, I want to say like a passion, or, you know, I like Slabs and stuff too, you know.
Hobby.
So, hobby or whatever. And so, you know, I began to, you know, fix up cars and stuff too, you know.
So what was the first one?
I had a little blue Cutlass with some blue crush in it, with some 83s involved. I just put a little music in the trunk, and I hadn't even hooked the music up yet. And somebody stole the car, and you know, but you know, that was just the beginning. Yeah. You know. And
and I know you had that car. You had told me on the phone that you know, at one particular time, you know, a lot of people came to you. If they didn't come to Mr. Davis, they came to you to buy wheels.
Oh man.
How did that come about?
Man,
And I guess my question is, you know, well, my question would have been for Mr. Davis if I had the chance to ask him, how did you stumble upon these wheels?
Yeah, these wheels? Well, I mean, it's kind of crazy because it's almost like it just happened. And I mean, you know, for some reason, I just started getting rims and selling them. And before you know it, you know, it just turned into a little business, you know. I had more elbows than I can imagine, you know. And people were bringing me elbows, you know, from everywhere, you know. And then once I developed a reputation for selling elbows, that made it even easier, because when people wanted to sell the elbows, instead of calling around trying to find it, they called me and said, hey, I need you to sell my elbows for me, you know, and there you go, you know.
And in the intro, we have a picture of your opera coupe. Was that the first opera coupe that was in the city of Houston with elbows on it?
Well, like I told you, my car stayed in the shop for a while, you know, and I was kind of sluggish with that at first, you know, and, you know, a couple of people went in there and saw what I was doing, you know, and so there is one particular individual that I know that beat me out the shop, you know, with that because he saw what I was doing, so he wanted to try to hurry up and beat me to the streets, you know, to make it seem like, you know, he was the one that, you know, that came up with the idea and put it out there and all that. But
and what was his name?
Mexican Joe.
Out of Harm Club?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but like I say, you know, but anyway, go ahead.
So when you pulled that car out, you know, that's, you know, during this time it wasn't easy to just find these wheels. So when you putting I don't know, 4, 5, 6, when you putting 6, 7 wheels on the car, was people tripping when you was pulling up in it?
Well, to a certain degree, you know, because that definitely wasn't something that people was accustomed to, you know, that they was used to seeing, you know. And so, it definitely was something to see, you know, especially back then, you know. Because keep in mind, we talking about over 20 years ago.
More like 30,
You know, so.
What, so did you have any attempted carjacking since you had all these wheels and stuff?
Yeah, somebody tried to jack me on January the 10th, 1996. And they shot me 3 times and killed my friend that was with me. Yeah.
Where'd you get hit
I got hit in the leg a couple of times, and I got hit in the side right here, and that bullet had come out right here, like my stomach. But, you know, by the grace of God, it didn't hit any major organs or anything like that, you know, so I was out the hospital in a couple of days, but, you know, it bothered me for a long time that, you know, that my friend died, you know, behind that. You know, I still think about that sometimes, you know, and,
what was the situation behind it? Y'all just riding and just at a stop sign, or was y'all at a club?
It was a individual female. At first I thought, you know, we were friends or whatever, but it ended up turning out that she was the one that indeed had set us up, you know. And I mean, it just wasn't my opinion. You know, even the police, the detectives said the same thing, but they claimed they didn't have enough evidence to, you know, really do anything about it. But I mean, it was obvious, man. It was obvious. Yeah.
So, do you feel like the flashiness of riding slab kind of hurt you?
Well,
I mean, in that sense, when you say, you know, your friend got you know, killed behind it, you got shot behind it.
Well, I mean, it's funny because I was just having a conversation the other night with a friend of mine, and I was just saying how, you know, he was one of the ones that always like to keep a low profile and stuff like that, you know. And so when you flashy and, you know, you do a lot of flashy stuff and all that, you know, you pretty much make yourself a target, you know, at some point, you know. So you got to be prepared for whatever come with it, you know. And so. And I thought I was prepared at the time, but I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be or should have been, you know. But you know, I did what I could, you know. I tried to, you know, I was fighting an individual that, you know, was doing what they was doing, but you know.
So do you feel like that was kind of like the downfall of riding slab back then? You was gonna get attention. You was gonna get problems.
I mean, man, one thing about it, you know, when you in the game, you know, and you ride slab, and let me make this disclaimer. Anything that I'm talking about now, you know, I'm not giving any glory to, you know, this stuff is in the past. And, you know, I'm just sharing part of my testimony because hopefully it might help somebody, you know, that might feel stuck. You know, because I know for a long time, I felt that I was stuck in the game. You know, you hear some people say they trapped in the game. You know, you just feel like there's no other way out. because of the hand or the cards that you feel you've been dealt, especially, if you, a high school dropout, you end up going to prison a couple of times, different stuff like that. And, especially you probably been on drugs and stuff most of your life or half your life, and these type of things, it discourages you. And, oftentimes we allow it to keep us in that place, And so this is one of the reasons, like I say, why I don't mind sharing, different parts of my testimony, because I hope that it will help somebody who may feel stuck, who may still be, feel like they trapped in that world, in that life, Yeah, because you can get out, and God does have a bigger and better plan for us, Yeah.
We gonna get to leading up to that, to where you did change your life, because just talking to you on the phone and just hearing stories, your testimony is real strong, So could you just tell me about, or we could just touch on it, when you had got into the game of pimping and what drove you out of it?
Well, I'll say this. Because of the ways of the world and the mind frames of people, I learned at an early age that little girls, not all little girls, but this was the mind frame that I had at the time. I felt that a lot of the younger girls, people, the girls, they were brought up being taught, how to get over on us,
men,
yeah. And the men, the boys or whatever, basically we was just taught to how to get what we wanted, from the females, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I noticed early on how when it seemed like you up and you having your way, they right there with you, but then soon as it seemed like you're a little down, on your luck, I hate to use luck because I really don't believe in luck, but I'm just saying for the, when it seemed like you're a little down on your luck, or seem like things not really going too well, a lot of time they not right, they ain't gonna stick with you, they going on to the next person, and so that, I think I received some early hurts, some early hurt in my life, dealing with females.
That led you towards that life?
Well, like I said, it intensified the views that I already had. And so, it got to a point to where, I wasn't the one that just wanted to be physically involved with them. I, just like they was out there, trying to get money and, trying to get over on people and just trying to get what they can get. Well, I began to develop that same type of mentality. I say, well, if you're gonna come at me, and then you really want money and you trying to go get money, we can get money together, and that's pretty much, how that started to develop,
So was it just like a learned kind of situation? Like a female brought it to you, or was it somebody in your neighborhood that might have showed you that or something? Because, you don't really hear about pimps too much in Houston.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I saw a lot of stuff in the 70s, you know what I'm saying, that had some influence on me too, and it was a guy, he stayed real close, he was a neighbor, and when I was 13 years old, he used to see a lot of the young girls and stuff, that I used to have with me and stuff like that. And, he was like, well, he came to me one day and he was like, well, man, I would like to get with some of those little girls, that I be seeing you with, and he was like, I'll give you, he said, let them know I'll give them whatever they want. And he said, and for you doing it, he said, I'll give you whatever you want too, And so at that young, tender age, I tried to put it in play then. But because of, me being so young and, a lot of other things, it didn't happen right away. But then, you know, years later down the road, you know, it began to kick in gear. You know, yeah.
Man. So did like did the slab game kind of like intensify? Cause you know you got this mindset, so now you riding this car that your car kind of was like a pimp car, basically.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I used to call it, my pimp mobile.
I see on the album cover. We're gonna talk about the album too. It was it named Shirley?
Yeah.
Shirley.
Yeah.
What made you give it that name?
I don't know, man. It's a good question. You know, that's just what came to me, and so
Yeah.
that's what I started calling it. You know? But yeah.
So we're gonna have to talk about this this album cover, this album that you put out. What year was it?
That was probably about 2004 or 2005.
2004, 2005.
Yeah.
What made you switch over from that lifestyle to in the rap game?
Well, it wasn't no switch to me. You know, because even on one of the songs, you know, I let people know I wasn't no rapper. I wasn't trying to be a rapper. You know, basically what I was doing was I was just trying to put some more bait out there. You know, because, you know, in other words, I looked at it like this. The same thing that I could tell one female or a room full of females, if I put it on CD, then my voice could be heard in various places, in different places. And so basically I was putting my hook out there, you know, so if they like what I was talking about or how I was representing, then they'll come find me. Or either when I come across them, they already know what it is, and that'd be the less work, less talking I have to do.
So you did it kind of for that lifestyle, the pimp lifestyle.
That's why I say it wasn't no change up. It was just another level of the game.
And that might have been even the same way you did it with the cars. You know, put this car out there, so maybe a female might be like, oh, more interested. Who is this guy? You know, stuff like that.
Now, like I say, I'm not giving no glory to none of this stuff. I'm just sharing, you know. But you know, we call it tools, you know, pimping tools, you know, and that was part of it, you know, and that was another reason why when I was, you know, so young that things didn't really jump off the way I wanted, because, you know, I had to get a little older and get my tools together, as they say, you know, and so, but.
So did you like know anybody that was rapping during that? Because, you know, during this time, you know, the time you coming up all the way to when you put your album out, it was a whole bunch of rappers in South Park. So did you know any rappers that you might have been like, well, such and such doing it this way, let me go ahead and try to do it this way?
Well, I mean, I knew plenty of rappers, you know, I knew plenty of rappers. And and that was another reason why I did what I did too, you know, because a lot of the guys that was rapping, basically that's all they was doing was rapping, and the stuff they was rapping about was, and so I'm like, these people, they rapping about stuff I do, you know, my type of life, you know, so who better to tell it than me? You know, and so that's another reason why I did what I did, you know.
And I know on the phone you told me that when ESG did his swanging and banging video, you took DJ Screw in a stretched limousine on foes to the video shoot. Oh yeah, man, that was a real nice day, man. You know, and we enjoyed ourselves, man. You know, and then I used to have a car with hydraulics on it back in the days. That was around about '92, and so by this time it was '95, and you know, I didn't have that car no more. And one of my other homeboys had a car with hydraulics on it named Major, and so he let me drive his car. He was keeping his car at my house at the time, and so he let me drive his car, and so we jumped out the limo with the foes on it, and I told Screw, I said, okay, well now, you know what I'm saying, we done roll around the stretch limo with foes on it. I said, now let's hit some switches, you know. So we jumped in the drop,
and started clowning around there and stuff like that. You know, we were young, man.
Yeah.
You know, we was just, you know, just having fun and
Yeah.
stuff. You know.
How'd you meet Screw?
I met Screw through Tyrone, a guy named Tyrone out of Herschelwood, Ronan
Mhm.
Ron, they call him Ronan Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I met Screw. And then actually me and Screw birthday on the same day too.
Okay.
Yeah, we tripped out and we found that out.
Yeah.
Uh,
So did you ever go to the house whenever he was doing mixes and putting out tapes?
yeah, but I wasn't one of the ones that, you know, just
We'll flock around.
no.
Yeah. Okay. So on the album cover, what made you come up with that art? It's for the viewers out there. It's on the intro. You know, I've went on the internet and looked it up. You know, a lot of people say it's probably one of the greatest album covers of all time. So what made you think of that idea to think of the name?
Man, be honest with you, I don't even know. But I know I was in jail when it came to me, you know. And I was just, I don't know. I even had a guy in jail draw a picture of it for me, you know, before I actually you know, did it with the, you know, the actual CD cover and stuff like that. I don't know, but it, you know, when it came to me, it just stuck, you know, and it was like it wasn't no other, you know how you be like, well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. But it wasn't none of that. It's like when that came to me, that was it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is it. You know, it ain't nothing else going, you know, this is it.
And you say Ricky Smiley was promoting it when it came out.
Yeah, man. Man, I got a phone call one day from a friend of mine, and she was like, and the funny part about it, by this time, you know, I wasn't even dealing with none of that no more, you know. I was trying to get my life right with, you know, God and stuff like that. And so I got a phone call one day, a friend of mine, she said, I don't know what you doing. She say, but man, your CD all over there. I'm like, huh, what you talking about? She say Ricky Smiley promoting your CD on Twitter, on his Twitter page. I said, oh, yeah. She said, yeah. She said he been having it on there for a while too. She said, check it out. So I looked at it, and I looked at Ricky Smiley Twitter page, you know, back then, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, okay, you know. And the crazy part about it, like I said, I was trying to do something different. You know, I wasn't even dealing with none of the street stuff no more and stuff like that. And I was trying to live a totally different life. But the enemy want to keep you bound to that stuff, you know. And so I began to get phone calls and have conversations with people that was making it seem like, hey, you know, you still want to, you know, do this rap stuff, and, you know, you still want to do this, still want to do that. You know, we can make some stuff happen for you, you know. This and that. I'm like, nah, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm done.
So what made you stop? Maybe not want to put out another album, get a game up, you know, what made you just want to turn your life all around?
Well, I got to a point to where I got tired of feeling like my life was going in circles, you know. It seemed like every time I get 2 or 3 steps ahead, it seemed like I get knocked 4 or 5 back, you know. And I didn't like that feeling, you know, and I was feeling that feeling for far too long. And I said, I have to do something different. I said, and I know that if I relinquish my will and my desires and give it to God and allow him to do what he want to do with me, that everything would be much better, because then and only then I would be able to get whatever I was supposed to get, be fulfilled, you know, out of this life, you know. And I came to the conclusion that whatever picture I tried to paint for myself, you know, for my life, that the one that the Most High God would paint for me would always be bigger and better, you know. And so I had to make a decision. You know, do I want to get the most out of my life so that my true destiny could be fulfilled? Or do I want to still just keep, you know, running these streets and, you know, end up back and forth in jail and, you know, somebody, you know, knock me off, you know, whatever the case may be. I said, nah. I said, I want something better for myself, you know.
Was it a hard decision, or like was it hard to transition? You know, you living this one lifestyle, you know, the notoriety, everybody knowing Top Dog, to just, you know, being you and not living for that life, living for God.
Well, the thing is, you know, you hear the saying, you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, yeah, you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you know that's the point that I got to, man, because it just seemed like the more effort that I was putting into, you know, some of the things I was doing, it just wasn't panning out, you know, and you be thinking, you say, okay, well, I'm gonna try this a different way. You know, I'm gonna try this a better way, but then you still really trying to do the same meaningless thing, you know, and so we have to come to a point or a conclusion where we understand that the things we slaving for and the things we craving for and all this energy and time and money, all this stuff that we putting into this stuff, it's all vain. It's all for nothing. Because before you know it, we're gonna check up out of here. And then we've been and wasted our whole life, you know, with foolishness, you know. And so I got to a point where I started thinking more about eternal life. You know, I done seen too many of my friends get killed and OD and all this kind of stuff and, you know, get life sentences and all that. I said, man, I want something better than that. I want something better than that for me. And then when I close my eyes for the final time, you know, I want my life to be acceptable, you know, to the Most High God. Nobody in their right mind should want to end up going to hell. But if we keep living that hellish life, where we think we're going to go? You know, so, I mean, all of us at some point need to begin to take self-evaluation and we gotta make a change. Unless we don't mind going to hell. You know.
Dang. So what drove you, because you know you wrote how many books? 7?
Well, actually, book number 8 should be ready by January. And so, yeah, that's 8 thus far. And I have a couple of more in the making as well.
So which one is your favorite one? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
That's a good question. I honestly can't even say that I have a favorite, you know. I never even really, you know, thought about that, you know. But I know the best is still yet to come.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a message that you want to give to the youth that's out there? You know, right now we in South Park, you know, it's still to this day a lot of stuff that go on here in these streets of Houston. Is there a message to the people that might be still living that lifestyle? You know, I think later on today it's gonna be a block party out here. You know, people be riding slabs and stuff like that. So, is there a message to the youth of Houston that you want to give?
Well, definitely. I think a lot of people, if you notice, when he first asked me about pimping and all that, I shared that I did have some hurt early on in my life. And I believe that played a role, you know, how significant or not, it played a role in shaping who I allowed myself to become. And I think a lot of us need to stop, take self-evaluation, and when we do receive these different hurts and pains and woes of life, we need to try to get some help. You know, in other words, we need to turn to the Most High God and allow Him to free us, allow Him to heal us, allow Him to deliver us, because if not, that same hurt that we felt, we're not going to do nothing but impose it on other people. And that's why you see so much killing going on. That's why you see so much raping, so much robbing, so much sin, period. You know, we have to say, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility for my actions. You know, I'm gonna do something positive with my hurt. I'm not gonna allow my hurt to compel me to hurt others. You know, the Holy Spirit was dealing with me lately with something. He said pain helps project our purpose. And this is an acronym that the Holy Spirit gave me. Say pain propels and initiates nourishment. So when the heart is open, you know, we at that point, you know, we're willing, or should be willing, you know, to receive that nourishment from on high. You know, we should be welcoming to spiritual help, you know, and nourishment, you know, but instead, a lot of times we just say, you know what, this happened to me, or they did this to me, this, that, another, you know, I'm gonna show them. You know, that's the attitude we be having. I'm gonna show them. And then next thing you know, you going out there doing something probably to somebody that didn't even have nothing to do with what you going through. You know, and that needs to stop. You know, so that's so that's my message, not only to the youth, but you got a lot of grown people that still have that same mentality. So, you know, that would be my message to them, you know.
I'm gonna challenge you real quick. If there was somebody out there that maybe going through that pain and maybe seeking God, what would be the verse that you might give them?
Well, now that's a good one, you know, because like you said, depending on what they're going through, you know, what they may need at the time, you know, and I think if whoever that individual is or was, whatever, you know, I believe the Holy Spirit, you know, would give it to me at that time. Like for me, I'm gonna tell you one that I hung on to that really helped me in at the beginning of my transition, because one of the things that I was battling with was being able to make a living legitimately, you know, because I didn't know nothing about getting a paycheck, you know, from a job and nothing like that. So I was 35 years old, man. You know, I was always making money off the street. You know, that's pretty much all I knew, you know. And so Proverbs 14:23 really helped me. It says, in all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips alone tended to lead to penury. And penury is extreme poverty. So that's real deep, because in other words, the Most High God was saying, if you willing to work, not just hustle on the street, this and that, say if you willing to work, in other words, you willing to get your money righteously, you know, he's gonna give the increase. You know, you might be overworked and underpaid, but the things that you need, he's gonna still provide it for you, because you had the heart and the willingness to do the right thing. And so that really blessed me, because he began to do it for me, you know, and so I experienced that, you know,
So back then when you was in the streets, did you see any instances of God just showing you like, this is the way, you need to come this way?
Man, yeah. People used to tell me all the time, when I was in the street, they used to be like, man, you're gonna be a preacher one day. I'm like, what? I'm like, nah, not me. I said, man, you got the wrong one. I said, man, y'all tripping. I said, no, not me. And they used to be like, nah, I'm telling you. They said, you gonna be a preacher one day. Watch, I'm telling you. And lo and behold. Lo and behold.
Yeah.
You know, but I tell you what, I'd much rather be doing what I do now than to still be living like, you know, the way I was living back then. I tell you that.
So when you do see, you know, the youth out there right now riding slab, what you think of it?
I mean, you know, like I say, you know, I mean, I went through it, you know, I lived it, you know what I mean? So I could pretty much understand, you know, the mind frame, you know, of a lot of them right now, you know, and what they're dealing with. Because, you know, like I said, I lived that lifestyle for many years, you know. So I just hope and pray that if they are living, I'm just gonna use the word foul because I know I was living foul. If they are living that way, if they are living foul, they're not really. I just pray that they get it right, get it together before it's too late.
Yeah. Before we get out here,
and then let me say this too. Now, just because somebody riding slab don't mean they selling dope. Mm-hmm. Don't mean they stealing. Don't mean they doing nothing wrong. So I do want to clarify that. Yeah. But back then, I ain't gonna lie. Back then,
there wasn't too many people that was riding like that. It wouldn't.
Please. Pretty much everybody that was swinging back then, we was all hustling. Yeah. You probably could count the ones that were just straight up working. I'm sure you can probably count them on your hand. Yeah.
So who do you remember back then that was riding like that?
Oh man, I was
riding tough like that.
It was a lot of us, man. It was a lot of us. I mean, cause you can go from hood to hood. You can go neighborhood to neighborhood, and it was a lot of us, man. It was a lot of us. Yeah. For real.
Was y'all only just riding in the south side? Y'all wasn't riding north, anything?
Oh yeah. We're riding north, south, east, and west. Yeah. And, sometimes people get on the highway, but yeah.
What was your if you had your dream car, put together again, who would it be?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one.
Or what kind of car did you like?
I definitely was a Cadillac man. I had at least 7, 8 Cadillacs with elbows on them. At least, I definitely, I like the Cadillacs. Yeah. But if I was, just say for instance, if it would take a lot, I ain't gonna lie, for me to really just put a project or something together like that, but it would have to be something classic. It would have to be something old. Yeah, something like a 50s something, Yeah, like a 1955 Cadillac or something like that. It had to be something old, man. Yeah. Okay.
But tell them where your church at.
Well, right now we're presently at 5430 Burma. We're actually having church inside of. We're sharing a sanctuary. Let me put it like that. We're sharing a sanctuary. We have service at 12 o'clock on Sundays right now. But we plan on having Saturday service pretty soon. So that's something to look out for, to be abreast of. But it's 5430 Burma, right on the corner of St. Louis and Burma in South Park. And like I said, presently we're having Sunday service at 12. And we be having a real good time. Yeah. And you can see and feel the people growing. You can see the people. And when I say growing, I'm not talking about in numbers. I'm talking about spiritually, individually, Yeah. Yeah,
man. If y'all want to come to church and want to get the good word, y'all come through and get that good word. SlabOGsTV, Top Dog, we out.